My dad was one of the ones that wanted a CRM.
Okay.
He's like, we need something. We have Google Calendar, we have emails, we got all this stuff. He was like, why are my other friends have it, but I don't? We were one of the first Zoom training calls he had, and it was father and son on the training call in the infancy of TintWiz.
Because the first time you enter a new role and you've never entered that size role or that type of film, and that first little setup can seem overwhelming, especially if you have a lot of film.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, if I can teach my kids to do it, I'm gonna record it, I'll post it on our social media, then none of our guys can complain that it's too hard to learn how to do because they'll have seen my kids use it.
I mean, one of the big reasons why we were doing this, and I know we've said it ad nauseum now, is just awareness in our industry. A lot of people don't know you can tint your home. This is an option. Because I can't tell you, it's definitely more on the auto side. When we have auto customers come in, it's, you can tint your house?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can tint your house. Let's set up a consultation.
We're all ready.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Born to Tint with the Miller Brothers. I'm excited to be here with my co-host, my brother, Josh.
How's it going, everybody? Today we have a very special guest. We got Cody Becker, the whiz trainer from Shore Tint. We had a great conversation with him, a little bit about his history in the industry, how he's become known as the whiz trainer. We've had a lot in common. It was a really fun conversation. Make sure you subscribe to follow any of the following episodes we've got coming up, and join us for this conversation with Cody Becker, the whiz trainer.
Go ahead and just introduce yourself and kind of go from there.
Awesome. Well, I'm Cody Becker. Some people know me online as the Tint Whiz Trainer or the Whiz Trainer. A little bit about me. I like to tell people, I just turned 25 Sunday, so I have 25 years experience in the industry. My dad started in '89. He was a sole proprietor, and he couldn't afford a babysitter at the time. So I was in the shop every single day. There's pictures of me in laundry baskets falling asleep like a little baby in it. Yep. I've been there. So some of the memorable flat glass jobs, because we're mainly a flat glass company, is we did the Coast Guard station. So while my dad's doing the work, they're taking me on all the boats, looking at all the cool shit. Because I'm a little kid. I'm 5, 6 years old at the time. They're taking me on cool boats, looking at stuff while my dad's doing the work. I remember doing a fire station. I got to go in all the trucks while he's doing the garage doors. It was neat. So this industry has been in my blood pretty much my whole life. So when I'm talking to customers, when I'm doing sales, you're a little young. How long have you been doing it? 25 years, my whole life. And then it's a good talking point. And,
For sure.
Oh, no, absolutely. I would say that's a mirror image of us. That's an exact same thing. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, our dad started, and we started in '83. And then same thing. We were no babysitters. Babysitters was you're going to the shop.
Yeah.
And you're learning. And that's the exact same thing. I know I previously have told this story, but the first house I got left on by myself, I was 14.
Yeah.
And it was more likely, it was, my sister's like, oh, did you tell the customer? It's like, they didn't ask.
They didn't need to know.
And they didn't ask. I looked of a certain age, and it's the same thing. I'll talk to, through my career, I've talked to certain customers, and it's either, yes, I get the, hey, how old are you? You look kind of young. And then I explain to them, no, I've been doing it since I was 10. And they're like, got it. And then also it's just the presence of how you talk to them too.
Yeah.
For sure. When someone has experience or has the knowledge, just the way how they present and talk themselves to where they're not just coming off as they're bullshitting you. Mm-hmm. They're actually they're being genuine when they are talking to you, you're talking to them, that you know what you're talking about when it comes down to it. I always got people how old are you? I'm 19. They're like, I thought you were 20 something. I'm like, no.
Part of the reason why I grow out the beard now is so I get the respect from the older clients. Because I have the same baby face from 16 till now. I have the same look. So I have to grow out the Amish beard. I have to grow it out. At times when I was younger, I let it grow out so it looked that much older. My area is very weird. So I'm in Delaware. It's legitimately 2 hours the long way, tip to tip. So we service the whole state. My immediate area is Lewis and Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. That's where all the older retirees from D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, they all come and retire in lower Delaware where there's no sales tax, the transfer tax isn't as much. I'm dealing with 60 plus every single day. I'm dealing with the older ones. And when you're in the white glove kind of clientele like we are, you get looked down on when you're a little bit younger. You get treated differently than majority of other people. So I had to grow and try and not act older because I've always been kind of the same. I've been the nerd, but I had to be change my appearance so my perception of myself was a little bit different. I had to look older because same thing you said. I was in high school, 16 years old, doing consultations. Right after school, working, driving to a job site. Now it's a lot easier if I had Tint Wiz. I could just pull up the app real quick.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, calling my dad, going to a job site, going here, going there.
Pulling out the Thomas guide.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thomas Guide. That was I guess that was my first job.
Yeah.
Reading that Thomas Guide. Where are we going? And I was pretty stoked about doing that. I think, you know, that was my little responsibility, and I thought I was pretty good at it.
See, now the one thing I did veer off a little bit, I started to go the college route and do that thing. I was going for marketing. I was going for a marketing degree.
That's smart.
And I took intro to business when I was in high school, so I already had college credits moving into college. I started at a Delaware Tech college, and I was taking University of Delaware programs there. So I was going for the big college degree at the cheaper price, so it was pretty cool. But that didn't last very long. So my dad's shop, 9 to 5, you know, Monday through Friday, basic hours. I can't go to college and I can't tint at the same time. I mean, during the day, unless I'm doing night classes or anything crazy. So I was at a grocery store. So I was doing the meat locker at night times in a grocery store, doing that and doing classes during the day, just trying to do it. And yeah, having a real job was what kind of pushed me a little bit more towards window tinting. But one of the straw that broke the camel's back, my marketing, my intro to business for college, like I'm talking first semester, like really new to college at this time, my intro to business teacher doubled as a political science teacher. Politics and business typically don't go well together. And
don't say.
Yeah, at times. So my mentality, my perception, my way of thinking was a little bit different than majority of college students and what he's preaching, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And easy way to explain, you know, the conversations. Little Susie has to get 3 jobs, working at American Eagle, working at Tanger Outlets, looking at all these different places. My mindset is get a real job, get an actual skill, something that makes it worth that you can go anywhere in the country and be valuable instead of getting paid $8 an hour or doing that sort of thing. So I had these discussions all the time in class. I'm constantly butting heads with the teacher. I'm a nerd, so I'm raising my hand. I'm getting into it. I'm trying to. It got to a point where my professor actually said, "Why are you here?" Like, he held me back. Well, he said, "Why are you here?" And I gave him the basic answer. I was like, "Hey, I'm here to learn, to better myself, grow." He said, "No, why are you physically here?" Like, what are you talking about? Your dad has made more money off of this college than I do a year. He tints all the windows at the college.
Yeah.
So I have the golden spoon right in front of me. And at that point, grocery store, this is before I got big in tint, was right before I got on everything. Grocery store, working nights, doing the college, doing all that. It sucked. And him kind of just, hey, right in front of you, take the leap, go into it. And here I am. I'll say about 5 years later now, just full-time every single day, in and out of the shop, the operations, growing, scaling. It's now my life.
Yeah.
So even though I went to college, going to college was one of the best things I did, because it gave me a grasp on reality, on life, what it could be, what I could end up at, and where I'd rather be.
When I graduated high school, I actually started community college for like 1 semester.
Yeah.
And I could have gone and actually played baseball at junior college in California or Arizona or either Northern Nevada. There was like schools I could have played for. But having this trade already like
Laid out.
Yeah, it was like I can go spend 4 years. And at the time, I wasn't even thinking the fact that I could take my tinting skills if I went to California or whatever and tint on the side and go to school. I was just like, I'm not going to work some crappy job, spend 4 years, get into debt possibly, and then maybe be making what I could be making tinting right now today and get a head start. Like the fact that we were able to grow up in it and come out of high school already fully trained was just like...
It's ready.
Yeah. So that was the choice I ended up making and didn't really go to school. And then I kind of had my little moment where I left for a little bit. I had to get away and do my own thing and did the Army thing.
We all do.
But that was a learning lesson for me, just like going to college, you know, like went and got to see leadership in a different setting and have leaders that weren't my father and see different examples of ways things could be done and grow up a little bit.
Eye-opening.
So I got to see the world a little bit. But coming back, I always knew that I could, like even when I was in the military, I was doing well. I gained rank quickly. I actually enjoyed it a lot. And if it wasn't for the fact that I ended up getting divorced and getting custody of my kids, which was like in the process of happening when I got out of the Army, trying to save my marriage, but it didn't work. but I got custody of my kids. It was like I always knew, like when I got out of the Army, I had Tint to fall back on. So it was like a nice safety net that I had. It was like, okay, I can always go Tint anywhere. So then I even ran my own location in the Dallas area for a year and a half before coming back out here. So actually running my own ship for a little bit, where I had 2 part-time people, one working the front and one helping me install. We had a really good first year, but ultimately once it was like I had custody and I could move, the opportunity to come back to Vegas and be part of the bigger team was just like too appetizing.
It gave you that experience.
Oh yeah, it was nice to see. Okay, yeah, like I don't want to be in charge of the whole thing. I actually like coming in and just being a gear in the machine and helping run things, but not
Finding what you enjoy.
not fully being responsible for everything was nice.
Yeah, no, I tried venturing out numerous times, and my dad shut it down constantly. He just threw more money at me. I'm in hindsight, I'm happy he did. I did what I think my whole drive to go experience something else was just that, experience the different hierarchies. I mean, at the time, I probably didn't realize that, but now I look back and know that's definitely what I wanted to do, is kind of figure out or just experience a different company. I've only seen our company. I've only been around my dad being my boss, and then on the unfortunate events, my dad said having to step out for health reasons, and now where we're at now, like I'm very happy that he didn't let me do that, and then I got very lucky too. I'm not sure. Is a curious question for me to you is, at what point? Because like for me, at what point did you know that you were good at what you did? Like I know you came up in the business and it was something you did. It's like just because you were there. Like for me, it was just a job to begin with. Like, got out of school and wanted to make money, wanted to buy things. And then I would say around probably either my early 20s or just before my 20s is when I started kind of realizing, like, what, I think I'm actually pretty good at this. And then it got to the point where I first competed in 2012, where like I wanted to go compete in the WFCT because like I knew, like I know, like at that point I trusted my skills, and like in my mind I was like, I'm really good at this. And then I got humbled, and realizing that there is so much more out there. And then it got to, and then even further, when I won the flat glass for the first time in 2015, that was like kind of the first solidified moment where kind of put, like for me, it was like, I am good at this. Like that wasn't recognition that I was seeking, but it's like just proving my inner doubts of I do know what I'm doing. Like, I am really good at it. And then also I got blessed in the fact that all of a sudden I realized, like, beyond I'm good at it, I really enjoy what I do. Like I have fun when I go to work. Like going on installs, I have like I don't say unlimited, but like just a tremendous amount of fun installing. Like I enjoy installing. I don't do so much of it now. Now it's more of the business side, and I've gotten lucky again. I really do enjoy it. I want to put my head through a wall every once in a while, but I think that's just business in general.
Yeah.
But it's just, I really enjoy it. So like at what point in your career technically did you get to a point where you're like, I actually really like doing this? Because obviously if you took the leap of like, you went to go experience college, and then right there you kind of got the realization like, no, I'm good. Like I'm going to go do this over here. Like, and you're really good at it. Like at what point did you realize like, A, you love the industry and that you were good at what you did?
So I want to ask one question first. How old your dad? And how old was he when you really got started into the company? Like really got into it?
So he started in '83. How old is he? He's
60. Oh, yes. He's turning 60.
He's 59. He's 59. He's 20 years older than me.
Okay.
He turned 60 in February. He's pretty much 60.
That's true.
Come on.
So my dad started, like he had me when he was around 24, 25, my age. So really young. So he's really young now. He's 49. So being able to work with my dad every single day was one of the driving factors. But one of the key, like, I definitely say my early 20s when I started to realize that I wouldn't say I'm good because I'm a good installer. I mean, I don't want to say I don't think installing, when I say I'm good at something, I think I'm consistent at something.
Yes.
I'll say it's not really good or bad. It's that I'm actually putting myself in positions where I'm learning and I'm actually executing on what I'm learning on. I'm not just another guy on Facebook that puts everything out there. I'm actually listening and absorbing. I don't try and teach or show anything that I don't know my own self. So when I'm looking, I'm in rooms that are typically closed for people my age that aren't normally open for people. I'm having conversations. And you said when you won the competition, well, I kind of just had an eye-opening, conversation this weekend. People, I actually got explained to me how I'm perceived by other people. And you're like, dude, you're really doing it. You're kicking ass. You're really going through
absolutely.
it. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm just living life. I'm just having fun. I'm kind of just doing what I'm doing. But I guess I'm being consistent at it. And it's really proving and showing that I am doing the right thing. And the thing is, I have my dad. So I work with him every single day. It's not easy at all. So he has the old school mentality. I have the new school mentality. But we're more like brothers than we are like father and son. There's less of a hierarchy. So if I come in with something and, hey, I want to do this, figure it out. Just do it. I don't have to go to him. I don't have to do anything. But there are a few things where he comes in and I can't, hey, you do you. You have fun. You want to buy it? I mean, have fun. It is what it is. Your money. And
Oh no, I've experienced the flows of, I think, that entire arc.
but it's really cool, like seeing that my dad is not passing the torch along, but not that we're equal either, but we're at the same page and we're going the same direction. We may have different ways of getting there, but we have our own path, but we want the same goal.
Yep.
So it's pretty neat because you said like when I really started to notice it, well, when my dad started to give me more responsibility, I started to be able to scale. I started to be able to go places like SEMA and go to different conventions, conferences. And if it wasn't for Tint Wiz, they're definitely one of the driving factors of this. Me being able to be in those rooms that are normally closed. I'm able to meet people that can buy and sell my company, no problem. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I want to be around other people, the same mindset, the same drive that want to
100%.
grow, want to get better. And I'm blessed. So I have my dad finally like giving me credit. He's like, all right, he's been doing this a long time. He was in his shop. So I can't fault him for knowing what he knows. And I can't fault him for not knowing everything because he only knows what he knows.
Yep.
But I'm blessed to have people that give me knowledge, that teach me, that I have resources that he wasn't privy to. So I'm now learning how to grow, learning how to do things and run and manage a company. And he's kind of transitioning more into a foreman. He gets the guys on the job sites, get them set up. He can build anything. So scaffolding, ladder, that's not me. I sell it. I'm numbers and I'm selling it. That's what I can do. But when it comes to the physical like actual putting the 10-tier or scaffolding up, getting that ready to go, contract or whatever, that's what he's good at. So we're able to delegate and grow, and he's giving me that type of responsibility. I'm picking up more, and that's when I really started to notice these past few years that I am, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's if anything. Yeah, with me saying like, oh, I know what I'm good, but like how you phrased all that to begin with, that's how I wanted it to come out. That was phrased absolutely perfectly. But yeah, no, the enjoyment. That's if anything. I'm very lucky. I really enjoy what I do. Like I enjoyed my installer part of my career,
Yep.
and now not completely over, and I still love installing, but like now I'm really enjoying this part of it, my career, where it's like we're trying to scale and we're build. It's
If you sit back and look at it, it's cool. Like when you're able to just sit back and look at the company that's there, you can see the numbers, how they're going. It's like, I did that. Before it was you go to the window and you say, I did that. No, I did up, up, up. It's pretty neat being able to focus on different things. And between the twos of you and your father, I'll say you can delegate a lot and do quite a bit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, see, that's where we bumped heads, I would say, earlier. when that's where kind of one of the reasons him stepping away when he was younger, and there were probably numerous times that I almost stepped away, is just my dad had the problem, I'd say, with the delegating part. Mm-hmm. And it was, and we discussed it on previous episodes. He was the product of his environment. It's just coming up and starting off in the beginning of the industry, and then you don't know what you don't know when it comes down to it. And then when you have people that you're either relying on or trying to rely on, or you're trying to delegate to, and then that falls through because of whatever reason being, because either a message wasn't passed along good enough, or they just straight up stabbed you in the back. that builds up a callus, and that's going to form you into the type of business person you are, and you're only going to be able to grow to a certain point. I would say in the later parts of my dad's career, we finally were able to start breaking through to him, and he was, and I would say I kind of experienced almost kind of similar thing where he actually finally, I felt like he actually was finally starting to trust me, where it's like I'd call him to ask him something, and he'd be almost like, "Why are you asking me?" I'm like, "Well, A, you have the experience, so I run everything through you because you have the years that I'm never going to have. I just, and the experiences." Like the one thing I'm a little jealous of my dad is like, and you kind of in the same boat as me. We'll never experience starting a company from the ground up, at least in this industry, and even actually in any industry, because at least we kind of get the concept now of what business is when it comes down to it, like the simple principles of a business itself. I'll never understand the stress that they went through. Like, and I mean, do I say I want to experience, but do I really want to? I don't think so.
And you can't fault the next generation for capitalizing on that either. I mean, they set the groundwork and the foundation for us to succeed.
Yeah.
They're the iPhone 12, we're the 15. It's natural. It's going to happen. We have different aspects, different improvement on things. We have apps now that we can control our company off our cell phone. I mean, we can see every aspect of our company just within seconds.
Yep.
They didn't have that. They had Google Calendar. They had emails. Before that, they had EDM mailers. They had bigger things. I would say. And what's cool about our dynamic, and I'm sure you guys have, my dad's the old school, so he's still doing the mailers, he does the home shows, the setups, all that stuff, and I'm doing the SEO, I'm doing the Google ads. So we got the old school because of our area. We have older people. It works perfect. And I'm getting the new school at the same time. I'm lucky that my dad's as open as he is because we're able to delegate and kind of conquer together. We're more like partners than we are father and son, like hierarchy. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's a very similar like dynamic.
Oh yeah, no, I like how you're explaining and talking about everything. It just sounds like you're just talking about our life story when it comes down to it. It's like the exact same thing. It's like
It's cool.
Growing. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I think we've had a few people now. We had Carlos in the other day, and same thing. I didn't know much of anything about him, and then finding out like where he started, how he started, like
Flea market.
yeah, like
a lot.
the pouch, the yellow turbo, and the white card, like. That I mean there's a generation of tinters that can say that, and then past that, that's gone. Like now it's like I have my 7 different easy reaches and bulldozers and yellow foot, and not the fault of any of the installers now.
No,
but it's just being able to go after a certain type of job and finish a job. Like we had to figure it out with like 3 things, and that's it.
2-stage with 1-ply global. That's what I started on. I would say I know how to 2-stage 1-ply.
See, that's another thing that's also, I'm sorry, that's another thing that's also kind of like, I'm not going away because that debate is always a very, very strong debate in our community, 2-stage or bottom load. But bottom load is way more prevalent now than it's ever been. When I first started bottom loading, like early 2000s, there was very few people that did it. When in 2012, when I was competing, I saw like 1 or 2 guys do it, Chris Brooks being one of them, and I was one, and there was like one other guy. Otherwise, you saw people ripping door panels completely off, and the majority was 2-staging. Now, with all the new tools and stuff that are coming out, that like bottom loading is now like almost the more prevalent install technique. It's crazy.
I remember starting tinting with my dad. You would get almost yelled at for trying to remove the panel or trying to make your job easier. Like customers didn't want that.
Yep.
They wanted to just put on right away. But what I was saying earlier, like my dad, when I really got into it, I learned on the older school stuff because that's what he knew. He knew the 1-ply. He knew the 5 tools that he knew. That's what it was. And I'm lucky I was able to come in and introduce him. I'm definitely not going to say I'm the one that introduced him by any means, but I'm definitely one that pushed him to innovate and get going.
No, we had the same dynamic. It's like there's definitely things that we've done, like adjusting the website to actually show up on mobile, like way later than it should have been, using Google AdWords, like all kinds of stuff. But it's like, what you know, and you're doing what you know. And it's been a huge advantage to us being a family business where the younger generation can be on the edge of technology and be looking. I'm sure you're the one who got you guys into using TintWiz, right?
So what was really cool about that, so we went from a CRM for like a roofing company. I think it was Service Monster or something like that. So he was actually, my dad was one of the ones that wanted a CRM.
Okay.
He's like, we need something. We have Google Calendar, we have emails, we got all this stuff. He was like, why do my other friends have it, but I don't? Because he's been the same guy in the same area forever. So everyone knows him. He knows all the other business owners. So he actually initiated trying to look for a CRM. So we started on one that was like a roofing one. We found Tint Pro, and that was just wild how expensive it was at the time, of course. And then I think it was on Facebook or something like that. We found Tint Wiz. And I don't know if Eric, if he was here, it'd be perfect. A complete alley-oop. We were one of the first Zoom training calls he had. And it was father and son on the training call in the infancy of Tint Wiz. And his mindset is all these older tinters, they never want to change.
Yep.
And he was like, the fact that you're there with your dad and you two were that easy to talk to, that open, you wanted to change, you wanted to grow. That's kind of how I got into the Wiz trainer. I mean, I've always been around him. I was always one of the first ones, always one of the nerds from the program. And my dad was there, and that stuck with him. And we just went off of that, just kept going. And so I don't know exactly who found it per se, but it was definitely a group effort together. Like I remember sitting there with him on the Zoom call, learning Tint Wiz, getting started with it.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
And we had one program before that we had gotten from a fellow dealer that he designed it for his business. He was a Panorama dealer at the time, and we got I think Josh is the one who ended up finding him. And then we started talking with him. We got kind of like a beta version to start using it. We started using it, and we made it work. Made it work for us.
It was better than paper.
Yeah, it was better than paper.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, it was a change, but it's like the unfortunate part. Like getting my dad to push into that was he went for it, but then he set it up in a way to where it's like he could use it.
Yeah.
And then training someone else to use it, that was going to take time. So we kind of just was like, all right, success. We got him to change digital. We'll leave that lie right there. And then eventually we stumbled upon, or should I say, he stumbled upon Tint Wiz.
It was probably also on Facebook. Eric's done a great job with just how he's
sure.
marketed that from the get-go. But as soon as I seen it, I was like, okay, this has the things that this other software is missing. And then you actually get to hear Eric talk and look into it a little bit. And then I think when they released the inventory tool is what actually got us to leap into it. Because we've got a large inventory. And it was like, well, let's try this. And there's a free...
it was like a free month or so.
Yeah, you had a trial period or whatever. And it might have even been right at the beginning of the whole shutdown.
I think
It was like we had some time, like, hey, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna inventory all of our inventory, and at least we'll have the inventory on there, and that'll get the ball rolling. And then that worked so well. I was like, we talked to Eric about this. I was even able to bring my kids in because everything was shut down. They weren't going to school. I brought them in and showed them how to input a new role into the system. Because the first time you enter a new role and you've never entered that size role or that type of film, you don't have all the preloads.
You don't have anything.
So you have to put the weight, the core weight, and that first little setup can seem overwhelming, especially if you have a lot of film.
Yep.
So it was like, all right, if I can teach my kids to do it, I'm going to record it. I'll post it on our social media. Then none of our guys can complain that it's too hard to learn how to do because they'll have seen my kids use it. And it was like, and we knocked it out pretty quickly too. It was like, all right, cool. That was like our little, how we dove into it, but definitely found him on Facebook and just him doing what he's doing, putting the information out there and trying to help. And then the fact that he's been iterating on it, it was like, oh, he's going to keep adding to it. And you contact him through support and ask for the feature and, they're probably already working on it, but now you're causing a little bit more awareness that this might be an extra feature that could be added. And then they add features.
They listen.
Yeah.
They actually go off of the feedback that
they care.
their clients have.
Yep.
And they haven't changed up on you. It's still $100 a month. It's still, and it keeps getting better. There's constantly improvements to it.
What's really interesting is talking to him yesterday. I didn't realize he kind of started developing it for his own business, the same way the other software we were using was developed inside someone's business. But he realized I'm going to sell the business and just work on the software.
Yep.
Because that's what it's going to take to actually develop it to work the way it needs to work.
Especially for the industry itself too. You have to, because that was one of the questions I had for him. Is it designed in a way to where there is no one way to use it, but there's a certain way obviously to use certain aspects of it, but you can mold it to your business. He's like, absolutely. And and that's the one thing I've loved about it the most. When it comes down to it, yes, there's a million different ways to do things. I equate it to Photoshop. When you're working in Photoshop, you can design things. There is a technical proper way to design or mask things off so you're not deleting things, or you can kind of do the shortcut. There's multiple ways to come up with the end product.
It's an open platform.
Yes.
Kind of an open foundation.
Yes. And that I absolutely love the fact that we were able to sit there and all of like, Eric, what problem are we having? Like, what we're having problems, let's say communications on certain jobs, certain tasks or stuff like that being followed. Okay, let's make this easy. When it comes down to it, everything goes through tasks. You want something done or need something or something needs to be ordered or whatever it need be, make it a task. Don't text me. Don't send it in an email. Send it through this program. Everything runs through here. It keeps everyone on the same page. This is where it's going to go, and to where everyone understands. Like, that's where it goes. To where if someone forgot to task something or someone just didn't do their task, when it comes down to it, it's on you then. You know, if like you sent me a task and I didn't get it done for you, yeah, that's my fault. But if you told me about it and you forgot to send me a task, I'll try to remember, but I can only remember so much, especially with how we're trying to grow and scale. Like we actually have like dedicated departments. We have an auto, we have flat, and then we have now admin. We have our front office, our front part of our business. So when it comes down to it, like I can only manage so many people at a time, and it's got to be able to go down to where like, yes, I'm going to manage the middle management. That's where, and then they're going to take care of their people below them. You know, Josh runs the flat glass department, and then I have Brennan runs our auto department, and they're the managers. And I've told them, whatever you guys need, you let me know. You know, these are the things that we'll sit down, we'll have a conversation. These are the things that we all agree either need to be done. This is how we should be doing it or want to be doing it. But also being open to the fact of telling every single person in our company, if you guys feel like there is a more efficient way to either be using this program or to communicate, let us know. Let's give it a try. There's no reason not to test and iterate, and just keep going from there.
Even on a personal level, I'm at the point now where I'm creating tasks for myself.
Yep.
Every aspect. Like if I'm busy doing something, send this email to them, or do this later, or do this there. Or every aspect now is a task. Like it's the most efficient way. For me, my whole life is in Tint Wiz already. So why wouldn't I want the rest of my life in there just so it's that much organized? Tint Wiz kind of holds me accountable because it makes me want to be on top of everything.
Yeah.
Me being a Tintfluencer, if you want to call it that, shop owner with multiple locations. I'm trying to scale. I've got brand deals. I've got other things I'm trying to work on. And I got my shop. I'm a sales consultant. So I'm trying to do everything at once. It's hard. So tasks are amazing. And I'm the task Nazi, if you want to call it that. I am. I have the same exact thing in my company. Don't talk to me through Facebook. Don't text me. No. Tint Wiz task, period. It's just how it is. You could do a generic one or do it per project, whatever you need to. Just put in a task, get it there, so there's documentation from it, and moving forward.
And you were definitely one, but on top of Eric, you were definitely one of the people I heard early on saying that. I remember back during the early days of everything being like shut down a couple years ago, being in those clubhouse rooms.
Yeah.
You were always in there with all kinds of great tips and knowledge on how to use it. Putting notes in of customers' interests, like this customer is a giant Kansas City Chief fan. Like put that note in there.
Anything,
like
dogs' names, kids' names. Where I'm walking around getting the names of everything. I heard them over speaking of one client. They're like, "Yeah, it's their birthday next Tuesday." I wrote that down. I sent them an edible arrangement after. Like you could do those little things very, very easily.
Yep.
And when I'm walking around with the tablet in someone's home, I'm taking down that. I'm taking pictures of not only the windows but the living room, the artwork, every aspect.
Yeah.
I've had decorative film jobs that I've cross-sold based off the artwork in their homes. I'll say, you can just walk around, yeah, I'm tinting these windows here, but this looks awesome, man. I'll say, this looks pretty good. I'll say, why isn't it in your bathroom? You have that big ugly window right there. I mean, we could put it there. It's pretty neat, the tool, and how efficient you can be with the tool.
Yeah.
And it's wild to me how hard it is to get people to understand that. Even try it.
Well, what's crazy, too, is I think the thing that most people are missing is outside of the software itself, the community. The fact, like, before you were recognized as the Wiz trainer, like, you were already the Wiz trainer, right? Like, the Facebook groups, the clubhouse that was happening every week, like, the community of people that are already using it and have already figured out how to at least start using it and maybe don't have it mastered yet are all amazing and share tips and tricks and ways to use it better and find ways to use it better and then share it. So you're getting plugged into that community, and it might be an Expel dealer or a 3M dealer or a SolarGuard dealer or whatever. Nobody cares. We're all just using Tint Wiz and trying to help each other grow our businesses. And that part of Tint Wiz is the thing that I think Eric's cultivated that's just amazing. And it comes from the fact that he's leading by example and what he's doing to just give, and then it spreads. Yep. Everybody in the industry is now willing to give their information up on how they're using Tint Wiz to make their business better not with no fear of like, oh, the guy down the road's going to start using it. Like, cool. If the guy down the road starts using it, awesome. The more users that are using it, the more capital he's going to have to make the software better, which is going to help me too. Yeah,
it levels up
exactly.
the industry. You don't have Joe Schmo missing appointments with blackout window tinting or whatever name there is. You don't have him missing appointments, showing up with no tablet or anything, because it forces you to adapt. It forces you to change and conform to now TintWiz is your process, which is a good thing.
Yes.
A lot of people need that conformity. They need something to grow off of.
Yep.
And I don't want to say it's definitely leveling up the industry, but it's changing the industry for sure. Leading by example, making everyone accountable maybe for their actions. You can see at a glance, oh, I didn't do enough this week, or I forgot 3 appointments, or this, that, whatever. It's all in there now.
The dashboard really is. I didn't realize at first using it, like, how cool it is, the features that are on there just at a first glance. Like seeing how much you have scheduled for the week, how many new consults have been scheduled for the day, how many leads have come in for the day. Like those couple little built-in features that are just part of the stock dashboard are like, you kind of know what's going on in the entire business by just looking at that home screen. Like you kind of know what's going on for the week.
Everything's in the app. Like you can put every aspect of it. So a big topic of discussion I've had recently was I'm working on what's called Trainual, which is a training platform for all my manuals, policies, procedures, everything. So I started on Trainual and I started the free trial. Well, I'm talking to Eric, I'm talking to Dave, I'm talking to Carlos, all these, my peer group, right? You're like, that's amazing. Trainual's awesome. You're in the right direction. You can put that on TintWiz. You can have in your documents tab all your policies for your installers, your admins, everything there. Then you can send it to your employees. They could be a contact in TintWiz. You can send those documents for signatures too. So they abide by your policies. You can collect signatures off of it. All the information's in the app. Each employee has their own profile. And if they're set up appropriately as staff members, they won't see it anyway. They can't delete it. They can't change anything. I had the idea of process and everything, and then it evolved to why not do it in TintWiz? Go off here, put it all right there.
Yeah.
Made perfect sense.
We
feed off of each other. We work, we grow.
I've been saying we need to record us, like we're writing down SOPs, but let's record us actually going through them step by step in whichever process we're doing, and then put that video into TintWiz as the training video on how to use it for XYZ, whatever the process is. That's basically what you're talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, see, but I love the fact that being able to put the SOPs in as a document.
Well, also,
have them sign. So now you're acknowledging that you looked where it comes down to me. So I didn't know. Well, you signed it, dude.
And you can get back to it anytime because you have the PDF. You can pull it up anytime.
Yeah, no, I like that because we already every employee has their own contact, and that's how we schedule days off. That's how I know if I can schedule you. So they'll go in, and it started off really raw with just like schedule yourself a project. And then it kind of got to the point now, it's like now everyone has one project for the year that's marked as days off. It is at the top, the job is called days off, 2022, 2023 days off. And then after you go through our approval process of putting into our app for our timesheets, it gets approved. It is on you to put it in TintWiz underneath your contact and assign it to the appropriate person so they know that we do not have that labor that day. So we've had to change a couple things here and there just because how it appears on the calendar. Just so at the quick glance, while I'm filtering through if I'm going to schedule a flat glass job, because that's one of the things that falls underneath my job is I schedule almost all flat glass. Is I just want to be able to look at my schedule if I'm on a phone call and know what I can and can't squeeze somewhere.
Yeah, like see who's off, who isn't.
Exactly, and then it's like we're using it as that, and like that, taking that aspect, that's even going to level that up even more because we have our standard SOPs that we kind of have had sit down meetings. I've been giving it to them. They've signed it. They've gotten it. It's all paper, kind of tucked away. Well, I don't know why I never even thought that's genius. To digitalize everything is put it as PDF. It's even our monthly reviews.
Everything. Every
month I said that we should put it in there.
I didn't even.
Well, you guys said keep it as a Google Doc.
I didn't even think about this. I didn't even think about adding the signature to it. Yeah. Like literally sending it over, and then just at the end of our monthly reviews. Have the review, all right?
Because we have a handbook that goes over uniforms, all the policies, everything. Yep. But I'm like, why don't we have this digital? And then it's right there. They can have access to it. Trainual's like $300-500 a month. I'm like, I just save myself a couple $100 a month. Do it all right in TintWiz. Now, how we do the days off is we're smaller scale. You guys have like, what, 10, 15 guys? I was like, you have a lot.
17.
17,
it's 17 including the front office.
That's everybody.
We have 6. I'll say different size. We just do a miscellaneous project in the title. Hey, whoever's off, Cody off, or like I have a SEMA one in. So SEMA every single day, it says right at the top of the schedule, hey, Cody's in SEMA. Don't schedule him.
Yeah.
So, and then it goes across everybody, because if you make it miscellaneous, it's not assigned to anybody. It's just in the title.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it, but we're smaller scale in that aspect.
Oh,
And we're going to be less diversified. We want to be flat glass only. So I'm not going to have to mess with in shop or anything like that too much.
Yes. Yeah. And
That's nice.
yeah. So now, see, he's saying that. What's pushing that direction? Because I've definitely have made the statement numerous times that if I had to, for some reason, someone came by, offered us an obscene amount of money, and it took care of everyone in our company, didn't, you know, whatever need be. If I ever had to restart something myself, and if I was going to build something for myself later on in my career, I would 100%. That's all I would do is flat glass. I wouldn't touch auto. It's not saying nothing against my auto customers or anything like that. It's just more likely just simplifying my own life when it comes down to it. That's how I look at it. So
it's your company. You're allowed to do that. My dad's getting old, so I don't want to deal with the same problems he's dealt with. I'm now looking at, I don't want to say the end of his career, but the accumulation of everything to get there.
Yeah.
And I want to solve those problems not only for him now, but me when I'm at his age. So I don't have retirement issues. I don't have medical issues. I don't have to fight cancer and worry about the next paycheck coming in. I don't have to worry about that. And that's why I'm doing everything I'm doing now, and why I'm so fired up about it, because I have a lot of friends that have cracked the code, and they're helping me do certain things a lot quicker than other ways. So I still have time to help my dad. He's 49. He knows what he knows, so it's pushing me to help get him to a point where he can retire. He can enjoy. He has a 7-year-old now. He got remarried, so he's got a kid. I have a little brother. That's where we're going towards.
Yeah.
Going flat glass only. We think our quality of life, sustainability, and growth will be a lot more manageable. Doing flat glass only.
That's all I do. Like that was the other perk about coming back here. It was like I knew we were big enough that you could just
Do one.
When I first came back, I would still do cars occasionally. I could still tint a car easily, but I'd prefer not to.
You had the choice.
Yeah.
You could pick if you didn't want to do other, you could do flat.
Yeah. I'd much rather be doing houses and buildings.
yeah, no. But I would say the hardest thing for us to get away from that, as where we're established right
You
now.
built the beast. I'll say it's already there.
Yeah, it's the auto feeds flat, and vice versa too. We'll be tinting a house, and the people are like, oh yeah, you tint cars. Yep, and then now we just did their 3 cars, and then the other thing is, I mean, one of the big reasons why we were doing this, and I know we've said it ad nauseum now, is this awareness in our industry. A lot of people don't know you can tint your home. Like if you have an older window, instead of replacing all your windows, I would say there's majority of the time, if your window is completely functioning, it's not losing air or anything like that, it's just a glass problem, it's just not efficient glass, doesn't have any coatings on it or anything, film can solve that problem at a much cheaper price and much less of a headache than it is bringing a contractor in to rip out your windows, put new windows in, depending on what kind of windows you have. They got to do stucco work and do all that, and then it comes down to, all right, you got to find a company you can trust, and then it's going to cost.
These are days. This is hours.
Yep.
This is time.
Yep.
Tints quick.
Yep.
A couple minutes per window.
Yep.
5 to 7. It's in and out. It's way more cost effective for the end consumer. For sure. You just get the problems that they have, recommend compatible solutions, and that easy.
It's just getting out to the public that this is an option. Because I can't tell you, it's definitely more on the auto side. When we have auto customers come in, it's, you can tint your house?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can tint your house. Let's set up a consultation.
We're already 65-35 flat, so we're already more flat glass as it is. We have all the automotive overhead and less of the money.
Yeah.
I don't want to put more resources. I'm in Delaware. I have 70% tint laws on automotive. I'll say I can't go as dark. It's way different. There's 5 real tint shops in all of Delaware, like real ones, not the fly-by-nights or anything else, 5 real ones. So my pool of employees, harder to do. I have to train all new. And, moving forward, training on flat glass is a lot simpler, a lot easier to scale. I have a goal, I have strategies, and just none of it fits automotive. It's just future growth, where we want to be at. And like I said, I want to make my dad's life easier. Yeah. He's worked really hard for me. He's done a lot, and he put me in one hell of a position to get ahead. And I don't know if I can curse on the
No, yeah, you're good, man.
I'll say it took this
good.
long to get one out of me, so I didn't know.
It no matter.
It's just, I want to make his life easier. He's sacrificed a lot. He was doing the car stereo in the beginning. He was a one-man show. I mean, he was doing it all.
Yeah.
He was there. He was head installer at an automotive company called Sound of Tri-State while he was doing window tinting. Like, he had to drive. We didn't get to this part of the thing. So my dad was a little kid riding his bike to do the shop, right? He was a young kid. I want to say 15, 16. He was there doing that for a couple of years. He was the young kid in high school working at the guy's car shop, working on cars. It was cool. Well, once he became an adult, he became a business partner into it. So he actually had skin in the game. Well, fast forward maybe 3-4 years of that relationship, the guy screwed him out of everything, emptied out the bank account, and skipped town to Florida. So that's what started him by himself, like complete rebrand. He was working at a pizza place, making pizzas at the same time he's tinting windows. He was doing the car stereo shit the same time he's tinting windows, trying to do it as a sole prop. And I mean, that's how Short Tint started. If he had to pay for the experience that he learned from that tint shop, if he had to pay for all the connections he made with that, invaluable. Not worth it compared to what was in the bank account at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that that happened at such a young age, when he started trying to grow, he had me at, like, he's 49, I'm 25, so he had me at around 24 years old at the same time growing. It was fun.
It's kind of funny.
Sacrificed a lot.
It's kind of funny seeing
Very
like
similar, man.
Yeah,
my dad was 20 when he had me, and he had already started, so it was like same thing.
Yeah,
Growing
it's
up,
cool.
watching it. Yeah, it's like we're a bigger shop now, and it's kind of weird. It's almost like imposter syndrome when you kind of like look back on it. Like, people look at us like, oh, you're some big shop, and it's like, man, I remember it being my dad in a van and us there with him late at night trying to
150, I'll say.
and struggling hard for a long time, and definitely being grateful for that and respecting it and trying to foster it along and I don't know, improve upon what we were given has been a huge part of, I think, why we've been doing as well as we've been doing. Is both of us, I think, feel very grateful to have the opportunity. And when our dad was on, actually, which the first episode finally released today,
That's cool.
one of the things he said in that episode, which like floored both of us, I think, was him saying that he no longer like stresses about the business at all. Like, it's like and knowing how much he stressed out over the years, to the point of like having a stroke and almost dying, because he put his personal health to the side entirely just to do whatever he had to do to make it happen. That moment was just like,
That's what drives me.
it was the best feeling. It was like, okay, to hear him actually say it was just like, okay, that feels good. We got to keep doing what we're doing, like, because that's definitely a driving force for me.
Oh, I'd say that's about, if anything, so far in my career, that's probably my biggest letdown, is that we weren't able to get to that sooner for him, and actually get and allow him to catch himself and get his health before having a stroke. So if anything, I would say that's my single biggest failure, is not getting to that point. And there's only so much you can do about it, and I understand that, but still, like, I look at it now, like, he was already telling us before that happened, like, how much truth is actually to it, when he was going to step away or not, which I had zero care in the world of when he decided to step away, because that is when he did decide to step away. Losing that much experience, doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're losing a big chunk. And it's not to say that he wouldn't always be there for us to call him, but when you step away from the industry, say you completely step away from the business after year after year after year, eventually it does get to the point where not necessarily out of the loop, but you're now not up to date with what's going on. But yeah, not getting to a point where he could actually step away cleanly and be, thankfully, pulled through with the stroke and everything. And, he is still on the rebound, still getting better every day, but like not being able to get him to be grandpa earlier, in our career. And I'd say, yeah, it's one of those things
Never
where,
enough time.
oh, it's one thing that drove us both to, like, growing up, I was definitely not, I think my biggest, I was about 240, and it,
same here. Yeah.
And we both went through our ups and downs, and I guess seeing our dad definitely get to that point, and then that happening. Before the stroke even happened, I finally had kind of gotten a hold of my health to a point, and I actually got myself, to where I was below 200, like, for at least a year or so, and like now I've held on to it, and I've gotten to my running and stuff. But for me, it was like when my son was born. As soon as my son was born, like this, and like, the first time I said this too, my wife was looking at me like, well, I've been right here for like the past 7 years. What are you talking about? Like, not so much. It's only my son that did it, but my son was that final initial push that I needed for some reason, and can't explain why I needed it. But when he was born and holding him, it's like, all right, my dad already set the example for me when it comes down to what work ethic is, drive, dedication, loyalty, like, and just like burying your soul into something. I wanted to be able to do that for my son and then some, be able to show him like, all right, these are the mistakes I made. Because, I know that my dad growing up tried numerous times for both of us and to steer us in certain directions of like, hey, don't put that stereo in your car. It's a waste of money. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And, 3 or 4 stereos later, a couple cars later, we still did it. Not as bad as he did, but,
I can go off of that. So it's probably the youngness in me because I am 25. But I see my little brother. He's 7 years old. I want to give him everything. I want him to have the easiest life possible. And I know, like, as a growing thing, as an adult, you want them to be able to work for it, earn it. But for some reason, I just want to be able to have the option to give him everything.
Yeah.
And not have to work as hard as I do. You brought up a website earlier. I went on a tangent and completely redid our website in 30 hours straight. Like 20 pages, 14, a lot of pages. We have 400 blogs on it now. We have a lot on it.
Nice.
I get in those moods where like I need to get it done. Just I know it's there. I'm working on it. Just get it done. Sunday it was like I was up to like 4 a.m. on Monday working on it, just hammering it out, and all that's to like put my dad in a way better position. And I don't want my brother to deal with the crap that I deal with. Like I want his life to be awesome. If he doesn't want to be in the tin industry, I want to be able to give him that option that he doesn't have to work for the family company. We're taken care of. We're set. It's running. I'm here in Vegas and it's making money. It's doing its thing. I want to be at that point where I can enjoy life with my family. I can do exactly what you just said. Your dad, you feel like your failure is that you did it too late. I get that, and that's a fear that I have. But just know that you didn't fail him at all. I'm sure he tells you a million times over, you didn't fail him whatsoever. But I'm lucky enough that I'm a little bit younger that, I have a couple years on you. I'm going to try and do that because that's one of my goals. Yeah. That's one of the things that pushes me. Yeah, do I have fun, like climbing ladders and squeegee and shit? And, me losing 100 pounds, now it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah.
I went from 320 and I'm 220 right now.
No, that's awesome.
44s to these are 34 somewhere.
Hell yeah, man.
That's awesome, man.
Big
How much better do you feel?
I can climb ladders again.
Yeah,
like I can go on scaffolding. I can and not feel weird about it. Like before, like you've never been this big, but you feel everything when it's a little bit different. Now I'm just climbing up, taking selfies. I'm like having fun squeegee and S pattern. I'm just doing it. It's a lot more fun now. And the fact that my dad could see me do that, I'm growing the company. He's still young enough. He's sharp enough. He's still there. And he's a part of it. I mean, he's pain in my ass, but it's my dad. He's still there. He's got a tangent on the home show stuff, and he loves it. I'm like, do it. Have fun. Just you take care of it. I don't want to do it. Like it's really cool that I'm in the position I am because of people like Eric and where I'm going, what I'm doing, and people like you. So it's pretty neat hearing your story, and it's very similar.
No, it's very inspirational to see you doing what you're doing at your age, and it keeps me super motivated and reminds me like, hey, you better be getting after it because there's young bucks
the Savages coming up.
They're coming up, and they're taking advantage of every opportunity they've got. Like the Tint Whiz trainer thing. So what? I know that was like an announcement that was made. And so you're doing that now. So how is that actually working?
Let's get into that.
Yeah, let's get into the history of that.
Who the Whiz trainer is. So back in 2019, when I got on with Tint Whiz, there was what's called a coaching program. So in the support tab, there was the help center, the YouTube, everything. There is actually a coaching tab with a little green rocket, I think it was, or something, or people together. I can't remember the logo. But in the infancy, there was 6 or 10, I can't remember, coaches, which are other shop owners that use Tint Whiz, that gave back in the community, and I was one of them because I was one of the early adapters. I was on it. I was the only one that did anything. I was the only one that put in content, that made posts. And I'm a nerd. I mean, it was very easy for me to pick up. I'm a younger guy. I'm on Facebook already. If you can use Instagram, you can use Tint Whiz. It's that easy. Yep. So I was
That's really good. I like that.
I mean, honestly, you're uploading photos. You're doing hashtags.
Yeah, it is that easy.
Very easy if you can use Instagram. So a little tip before you go into Whiz Trainer. So when I'm hiring new people, I'm looking at their Instagram. I'm looking at their Facebook.
you'd
If
hate
they can
me.
make posts, if they can upload, if they can make a caption, a note, things like that, they can use TintWiz. Like, it's that much easier.
Yeah.
It's little things to think about, but it makes sense.
You
and
would
it
not.
works.
You would not hire me. I just started Instagram like a couple of months ago, and now I only started posting because he finally talked me into putting ChatGPT on my phone. And if you just look at the history of my kind of posts, you'll see like a couple one-line descriptions, and then all of a sudden it's like emojis and hashtags and I'm like,
Perfect
that's-
grammar.
Yeah.
So the AI is definitely a separate part I'd like to talk on with you too, because I look up to you with AI. I was hearing your conversations with it and what you can do. I'm a dork, man.
Oh, dude,
I'm a
it's so
tinfluencer,
fun.
but I'm the least tinfluencer there is. If you look, I don't post often. I don't do emojis. I get posted about. People talk about me a lot, but I don't do shit. I'm just there living life, showing up and executing, doing what I'm told to
And
do.
then when someone calls you for some help, like I know I have, it's like an instant response, and you take the time. And
I gotta hear it, man.
That's why people are sharing it, because every time I've reached out to you and asked you something for TintWiz, you've immediately gotten back to me and given me really good answers that have helped. So
I appreciate it. But yeah, I was one of the original coaches. I was one of the only people that went into the TintWiz community group, like putting my own stuff out there. And then Marco came along. He boosted it up as much as I did. We're going back and forth. Well, it was San Antonio. I can't remember. I think it was IWFC San Antonio a couple of years ago, not too long ago. And we were there on the balcony. I'm with Marco all the time, and he's the film trainer. So I'm like, I'm doing all this coaching in TintWiz. I'm like, the Wiz trainer. I'm like, that's a great name. That's a phenomenal name. Like, that's perfect. I'm doing it already. I'm the coach that's doing the most. I'm the one that's putting the most work out there. It's perfect. And then, it became my handle. I stuck with it. I actually have the original Instagram account, the Wiz trainer, but I never did anything with it. I'm the worst influencer there is. But I'm doing it in person. I'm showing up. I'm making it happen. And I started to make a name for myself. People started to know me. There's a few things that with the Huber Optic deal and the Audubon deal that I can't talk about, but it was a great opportunity being announced as their Wiz trainer. I'm the guy that they can go to in their network that, hey, if you have the CRM, I'm already a part of it. I'm in the network. It's easy help.
Smart.
Between that but I've been in the GeoShield. I went to the GeoShield Flat Glass Summit working the app there. I've been in Expel working some pretty cool things. I'm with Eastman working, doing some pretty cool things. Like I'm going to the Eastman party.
nice.
I don't sell their film. I don't install it. I got invited. I have friends there. I have a lot of people that I've helped out that give back to me. And being in the place where I am because of TintWiz, I'm able to go anywhere and do anything. But you and AI, man, you're next level with it.
I'm still. It's only been out since November, and I've been playing with it like crazy because it really is nuts how much it can help you be productive.
sure.
It's not perfect every time, and if you just ask it basic, simple questions, you're gonna get basic, simple answers. And
You have to tell it what to do, how to frame it, how to make it
and
flow.
regardless of what everybody's opinions are on its political opinions and stuff, I'm not asking it political opinion questions. Like I don't like it might be woke, but when I ask it a business question or ask it to help me write something, or if it knows a certain book or whatever, like it's super effective. Like you can ask it a very specific question and then maybe give it some extra information to help it. Then actually even ask it to ask you. Like, hey, I need to create XYZ. Can you ask me 10 questions that would help you create something better for me? Like that's one of the prompts that I saw somebody else show, that ever since I started incorporating that, like, okay, I'm going to tell it what I need it to do and then ask it to ask me questions to help it give a better response. And then instead of just giving me one response, give me 5 responses. So now I got 5 drafts to look at, and maybe one out of the 5 is better than the other ones. Now I can copy and paste that, give it back to it and say, okay, I like this one the best, but can you change this, this, and this? And then boom, it shoots you out another draft. Like just the amount of time you're saving is wild. And I don't think we're even scratching the surface of what it's
you're
capable
only
of.
limited what you can think of. If you're
Totally.
creative, you could tell it what to do exactly, how to frame it, what words to replace. You can say, all right, replace Nevada with Delaware. And you can copy and paste the whole page off a website and just swap that. You could tell it to frame it this way, say it's sun control, say it this.
Yep.
There's so many different applications. It's next level. It's really cool. And
I want to say, even beyond that, like if we're having a disagreement either between me and him or my sister's involved too, it's now gotten to the point now. This happened the other week, and I've done it to him now too. And I think we just all do it to each other. him and my sister were talking about something with the numbers and marketing or something. So he replied back to her email that she had sent out, which she had typed up, just kind of sending out numbers like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm thinking about making this switch here, moving some money here, doing this and that. He replied back with this like paragraph, which I was like, as I read it, I'm like, that's not you. That is ChatGPT.
Well,
and then hold on, wait. And then right after, all of a sudden, my sister replies back, and like all of a sudden, like I'm reading both, and I just like
You can tell.
they're talking through ChatGPT right now. In which like I waited, I didn't respond. So I waited till they're both in the same room. I'm like, you guys are retarded.
But
Like, come on, like
no.
You guys scam conversation with each other. But
it actually was a more constructive conversation.
But that's what I'm getting to. When it really does come down to it, though, because I ended up doing the same thing kind of to him a little bit later on. We were in disagreement about something. So I went on there and like I listed my grievances and I was like, all right, I need a response in the tone of Jocko Willink. And like I typed all my stuff in there and like it popped it out. And I was like, good. All right, now ditch the name Jocko Willink and Extreme Ownership. Pulled those things out. I was like, perfect. Copied it, texted it to him instantly. And I was like, it makes more sense. And it does make sense because how me and him will talk to each other, we agree upon a lot of things. But how either I might say it, and which a lot of times is how I might say it to him, he perceives it a certain way, and then vice versa. And now all of a sudden we're fighting about something for about 5-10 minutes, and then we get to the end of that fight, and it's like we're talking about the same thing, and we agree.
That might not even be in writing. That might be face to face in person. But in writing, it's 10 times worse, right? I feel like social media. The biggest problem with most social media is people are having conversation through written word. And everybody's ability to read or to write is different levels. And like what grammar you're using and how do you actually convey tone in a smart way. Like that takes a really good writer and a really good reader. So you might write something and intend, even in a text message to one person, it could be your wife, and you're intending to say one thing, it gets read another way, and you get a response back that's for an entirely different topic you didn't even know you were talking about, right? So it's like, okay, she just actually wrote me something that's like something we need to talk about. This really should be a phone call conversation, but I know that even in a phone call conversation, my tone might get taken the wrong way and this could get twisted. I didn't even write it. I spoke it. I was like, okay, I need to respond to my sister's email. I'm going to copy and paste you the email, and then I'm going to tell you what my response would be. Can you make sure the tone's professional and not argumentative? So like copy and paste the email and then just hit the mic and talk to it as if I was just trying to talk to her and convey what I was thinking about the situation, and then hit go and boom, out comes like, okay, that's exactly what I wanted to say. And it reads professionally, not argumentative like I wanted. I don't think this can get messed up. Copy, paste. All right, done.
So that's a solution to the bigger problem, I think. I think communication nowadays is one of the biggest issues we face.
Yep.
Because like a small micro example, me and my dad, we're a lot like brothers, and we fight like brothers. We go into screaming, throwing, yelling shit at each other. But as soon as we're past that room, it's done. It's gone. That thought's gone. That all that past is in the past, and then we grow from it. And it always comes down to communication, because we always agree on the goal. We always want to progress. We always want to grow. We always want the right direction, what's best for the company. But what you think of is best might be different than each other. And one of my biggest issues I have to like work on is my dad's in Delaware right now. He's not in Vegas with me. So he's back home working, doing his thing. I have all these great ideas that I can't just jump home and bombard them with that. We're changing the whole company. We're doing this, we're doing that. And that's my communication, my execution. You can't overwhelm it. It's a delivery of things too.
Oh, totally.
And the solution could be AI that can help you deliver. Or sometimes you need to have those long talks and you just need to hash it out and get it out there.
No, absolutely. But I will say it definitely has improved. Like when we are trying to send a message, it just is a time where it's going to be text. It's either going to be an email, it's going to be something like that. Yeah. Especially like sending numbers like when I look at both of them, like, you guys got to be kidding me. But at the same time, like I read through them, like, okay, it makes sense. And then it's like they're both able to portray their idea without like, hey, we're not trying to make this a fight. Like this is just we're trying to make a business decision here. Yeah. What do we think? Let's actually have the conversation. And both their messages kind of brought it together. Like, hey, let's sit down together. Let's talk about this. This needs to be more than kind of an email thing. And it's worked out great. Like even the message I wanted to send him, like I'm pretty sure if I kept it, which I'm pretty sure it's probably saved somewhere. Like initially what I typed in there.
Oh, in your history on GPT.
Probably if I sent that to him, it would have caused a huge fight. But like what came out, I was like, That's exactly what I mean, right there.
And
Click.
you may have like I said, I'm going to come back. I have all these ideas. It's all execution, but it's how you execute on it. Like you're saying, being nice, clear communications, is talking to them. You know what's right. You know what's not. And sometimes in the moment, that Chat GPT, that quick text can bring down the tone that you're typing it into.
Correct.
If it's how you're looking at it and how it can be received.
Yeah.
And me being younger, me being social media, me being part of that, it's very hard being taught by an old dad how to live and how to think and how to do things. And now I'm in the new age where I have to be PC. I'm representing a brand. I'm doing a whole lot of different things, and it's a lot different now. I'm trying to scale and grow a company. I'm trying to do a lot of things. And sometimes taking that extra minute, all right, how do I respond to this? How do I even think about this? I don't say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like you almost talk to yourself, but you are.
No,
I've gotten multiple 6-figure job offers now from manufacturers. I've gotten things, and one of them hit really close to home. And I'm like, wow, this could be something really big. This could be a lot bigger than it is. I didn't know how to feel about it. I can't talk to my dad. He every time he tells me, he's like, do the best. Do whatever you want, dude. Have fun. Go chase the stars. He gives me a basic dad answer. I'm like, that's not telling me anything. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with industry peers. ChatGPT. I asked, all right, here's benefits, here's cons, here's this, here's that. How should I think? What am I not thinking of? Those are different questions you can ask it. And having constructive criticism like that, going back and forth, different perspectives instantly can help. It's really neat and powerful how you can use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The communication part of it is definitely wild. I like the changing the tone of what you're trying to say is so powerful. It's really hard to get good at writing in a way that actually is conveying exactly what you're trying to say.
Programs you can schedule social media posts with, and then you can have the AI make those social media posts. So within 2 hours, you can have a whole month of posts scheduled, ready to go. 3 a day. All right, I want one at 2 o'clock, one at 5, or whatever. It's really powerful what you could do. Hey, can you reword this, change it for this? All right, I want to take from security film, make it anti-graffiti for commercial and outlets, or make it for this. All the different blog posts you do, all the different.
We're doing a blog post a day now at the shop, and that's purely because of that.
GPT.
Right? How much. The first time I really realized, like, oh, this is crazy, was like, I was like, I think I could do. I saw somebody's YouTube video or something on how to make a quick blog post. I was like, that doesn't seem too hard. So I did it for turf protection, for putting perforated screen and in a matter of about 10 minutes, I had a legit blog that was like, and everything it came up with this was with limited prompting too, because I hadn't used it that much yet. Limited prompting, but asking it to give me several options. Like, hey, can you give me a title for a blog about perforated screen to protect turf from the sun melting it? Give me 5 different titles for that. And then out of the 5, one of them was like, oh, that's perfect. All right, copy and paste that. Can you give me a description of what this blog would be? And then it gave a brief description. All right, can you make an outline of all the different sections? And then boom, it gives an outline. And then you take each different section and, all right, can you write this section of this? And because it has all the memory in that same chat, it's just building upon it and building upon it. And by the time you're done, you've got an entire blog that looks like somebody spent a week writing it. And it was like, oh, and then by the way, can you SEO this for Google? And then even feed it links for the top ranked SEO'd pages for those keywords that you're trying to hit. Then it rewrites it one more time, and you can see all the keywords that it threw in there, and it throws links to those top ranked.
That's cool.
So it's like,
it's all linked together. It's all
wow,
edited.
like that would have taken me. I don't even think I could have done it in a week because I didn't have the ability to even do it. I could maybe hired someone to get it done in a week, but I wouldn't have been able to do it. It's like, oh, this is pretty powerful. Like,
so I did probably at least 80 blogs, and I had no idea what I was doing. This is before AI, before everything. I just started writing stuff and started doing it. You know how much I had to go back and fix and like make it proper so it's SEO'd, tag all the photos, embed it all so it's all ready to go. Everything's SEO'd. It's a lot. And when you're jumping into something and you're not aware of it at first, you can easily bang out 100 of them and then have to go backwards and start. So I wish I had AI in the start. And like I said, you're the trainer of AI. In my opinion, anyway.
I'm trying to learn. Anyway. Well, I talk about it a lot. I don't know.
Got me to start using it. That's shocking enough.
I don't know. Just once you actually start, I think people are so afraid of it because the Terminator narrative.
It's already here.
Like the cat's out the bag. And honestly, like I don't think it's AI we have to fear. It's people using it, right? So people are going to use it for good or bad. One of the scary things about GPT-4 that I've heard, and it makes sense, is it'll actually code for you, right? And one of the biggest ways coders are using it is they're using it to debug their programming they're doing. So if they're coding something, they'll feed it the code that they just did and find the bugs in it and then fix it, right? Well, the problem is anybody can take anybody's software code now and say, hey, find the bugs in this, and then you can exploit it. So hackers are taking advantage of that, right? So there are downsides, but it's not necessarily that the AI itself is going to get us. It's people that are going to use it for nefarious things, right? But there's also going to be people that use it to do whatever it is you do for your job. There's a lot of white-collar jobs out there. There's a lot of people writing blogs or doing whatever that might be afraid of it and don't touch it, and somebody else is going to learn how to use it, and all of a sudden the person with 2 years experience doing what you do compared to you having 10 years experience is going to be able to outproduce you 10x, and who do you think's going to get the job? Like the person or
the person using the tool properly, which if you take your 10 years experience and take that tool and use it the exact same way, you still have 8 years experience.
Yeah, it's like using Illustrator, you know, when people started using digital art, start using tools like Illustrator and Photoshop, artists, I'm sure, were like, that's not real art. But like, well, now the person that uses that tool really well can actually outcreate you.
They said the same thing with
all
the
day
internet
long
when it came out.
Yep.
Saying this is the next generation of search engine almost. It can almost be that way. You can talk to it, you can learn anything, you can create any aspect of it. It's free form.
Yeah.
It could be the same ones that are hacking the programs. They probably have their own AI security to adapt with it as it goes.
Yeah.
It's a never ending.
Yeah, you're always going to find pros and cons. The one argument that I actually like the best is when calculators first came out.
Okay.
Schools would you weren't allowed to use calculators, right? Like it was like, can't use calculators for math. And then it evolved to the point that now you get taught how to use a scientific calculator.
Yeah, make you bother them.
Yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, of course we're going to use these, right?
Well,
it was like you couldn't use them at first. Then it realized we got to train you to use this. These chatbots are basically a calculator for the written word.
Yep.
Like you still need to know how to use a scientific calculator to get the right thing to come out of the other end of it, right? So I think people need to learn how to use this tool and get on it and play with it just so you see what it's capable of.
I'll say we have a hard enough time getting people to use plotters. Okay.
Yeah. Well, people are afraid of change.
That's a whole other argument by itself.
Yeah. Maybe at a grand scale, this is going to be awful for humanity, but if it's available right now and you're not trying to use it to improve your skills or your business or whatever it is you're doing and be more efficient, and then you can spend your time doing other things, spend time with your kids, whatever, why would you not do that?
To be open. It's business. It's always evolving. There's so many new avenues, so much different technology, new client base, new ways of marketing, new ways of advertising. If you're not open to improvement, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
It's how it is. Everything changes. It's constantly growing. The new guys you said earlier, they're savages. They want to grow. They want to get bigger. Shit's a lot more expensive now. They need more money. They need to grow. They get tired of...
Scaling's expensive if you're having to hire people, right?
Yep.
Like if all of a sudden you've got an AI in your pocket that's basically a personal assistant, because these are going to get to the point, in my opinion, that you're going to have, whether it's ChatGPT or Bard or whatever, or Siri gets integrated with some kind of AI. I think right now you can already kind of plug Siri into ChatGPT. But if you were able to just talk in your earbud while you're on a job to your AI bot, who's your personal assistant that remembers every conversation you've ever had. You've given it access to your emails. You've given it access to whatever you want it to have access to. And you tell it that you need to send an email to such and such and respond or whatever. And it's just automatically happening in the background. Because that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be just like at the time you prompt it, it does stuff for you. You're going to be able to prompt it ahead of time to do stuff that happens all the time. So if I get an email from this list of people, I want you to draft a response for me and then alert me and let me know that it's ready. And I can give it a review real quick or ask you to change it and then hit send. And then I'm on to the next thing or whatever. It's going to be that integrated into everything.
It's like you said, the one big problem for everything right now, or what seems to be the problem, it always comes down to communication. I mean, I think that's the biggest plus. The biggest plus we definitely have gotten out of Tint is it's streamlined our communication. Yes, I can look at everything that's happening on my business at the same time, who's doing what and where, but at the same time, it improved our communication through our company instantly. Like as soon as we came up with a certain little guidelines of like, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. We'll see how it works. and then we'll adapt and we'll kind of go from there. You know, we started off kind of like using tasks here and there, and then it finally came to that point where it's like, no, everything's tasks, absolutely everything, and everything just runs through TintWiz. It gets rid of that barrier of communication from person to person, to where there is no tone or anything behind what I'm saying. It's just a simple task. This is what needs to be done. This is where you need to be at this time, and all that.
It was the emotion.
Yep.
Yep. It's business. It's your job.
Yep.
You got this. You got this. That's what we're here for.
And it removes the human error in a lot of things. Like, it's really easy to forget something when you got 10 things going on.
Yes, it
but
is.
if you put it in there, you know you can't forget it. And other people on your team can hold you accountable because it's in there.
I have to go look at flooring for my dad while I'm in SEMA. I made that a task just so I didn't forget. Just go talk to the certain booth at Race Deck. I'll say little things. It's so
Yep.
organized. It's all in one spot. Just keep track of it. It's definitely another tool. It's just another medium for you to grow and solve the communication issues.
Yep.
And clear communication with clients, with everything, can solve so many issues.
Oh, yeah.
How hard is it for people just to pick up the phone and just say, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late? That's all you got to do.
How hard is it, Josh?
Not at all, because we call 30 minutes before.
Okay, that's good.
Love it.
And they get reminders from TintWiz.
And
Actually,
Was
I
it
was
you?
yeah. So the fact that we do automotive and flat glass, the fact that the reminders give you a hard time, he actually gave us the perfect workaround for it. I sent it to Nichelle. I don't even think we've implemented it yet.
what
to
are
be
you
honest.
talking? Do it now. Get on your phone. I'll say,
This is the first time I've heard of this.
Yeah, so
it's
he,
mine.
he's got a really good response to put in there that addresses
so
it.
So it goes to everybody, all
Yep.
the flat, all of it.
Well, that's
so
a problem we've had.
in the text message now, it says for all residential, commercial, however it's worded, please allot a 1 hour arrival window from your time till whatever. And then right below it, if it's an automotive appointment, please arrive at time. So it's all in one text message and it works. It solved the issue. Just very simple.
Yeah, that will do more good than bad in effect, because we'll still have.
You still have the
Yeah,
text message.
Well,
You're
no.
still on time, 30 minutes ahead, but it gives you that window of, oh shit, I got stuck in traffic.
Yep.
Or this window, I hit it with the ladder on the way out. I nicked the door with it, or
Well,
anything.
we'll give people the window and explain it to them when they're scheduled, and we'll
see
put
the
it in our
text
notes. But then they get the text that gives them a hard time.
Yep.
And we've had a couple people that are like, "Well, you told me after you told me that you told me that you would be here at this exact time." It's like, that was an automatic message. I'm sorry, but it was still a window. And once you explain it, they're cool. But it's like, all right, can we fix that to where we don't have to explain that? That's one less thing.
I'll say the only thing I will see that I think what I was saying is it'll solve more of an issue than it'll cause one. You're still going to get people. I just got a message saying that you're going to be at my house when you're doing my car. Have you gotten that?
Well, yeah, you're going to get people that don't read either way.
Okay.
I mean,
you can't control that.
Unfortunately, there's going to be outliers, but it's better than it was before.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If it's just they didn't read, you can say go back and look at it.
I'll say it's right there, dude. Yeah. Like, you just didn't read it.
Well, no,
and I dealt with that exact thing a lot. Hey, it's right there. Did you read it? I mean, it's 12:02. It was a 12 o'clock appointment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, no. We'll get those every once in a while where it's like, at first when it came down to it, it's like, why is it being told? And it's like, I'm looking at my brother like, all right, I'm doing the scheduling now. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but like, I have a very set script, and so does our sales associate who does all the flat glass. Because like me and her, like, I'll do most of the scheduling, but depending on what I'm doing for the day, me and her are in constant communication where my day starts off. I sit down in front of my computer. I go through my alerts. I scroll through my alerts. I see if there's any approvals. If there's an approval, I click on it. If it's auto, I don't pay attention to it because my front desk takes care of all that. They reach out to those customers. They get it scheduled. If it's flat glass, I instantly scroll down to notes. I put schedule. I task it to myself. I task it to her. And then depending on what her day looks like with what kind of proposal she's got to do or what she's got to get done and what I'm doing, by the end of the day, if neither one of us have kind of either if I look at it and it hasn't been scheduled or called or vice versa, we'll have a conversation at the end of the day and we'll discuss who's going to call. If like, hey, I got this, I'll schedule it. And if I schedule it, I'll task her, or we both kind of stopped. Like if it's scheduled, when you go to click on schedule, it's like as soon as you click on it, it's like it's been scheduled. Close task, move on with my day. Because that's probably my favorite task I get is, well, she'll send to me scheduled. I'm like, perfect. I just got rid of 2 of my tasks.
So I have a question then. Who's doing the sales calls, like the actual flat glass measuring? Who's doing the consultations?
That's my sales associate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
is
our
she-
cousin, Misty.
That's our cousin Misty.
Okay. So how did she learn like 100 square foot's 2 hours? Or how did she learn this job is 5 hours?
That's the reason why I'm scheduling.
Okay,
Is that
so
she
I have an
hasn't
idea for
got.
that.
Okay, so
So-
she hasn't got to that. Like, if anything, I would say, I'm not saying I haven't relinquished it, but I saw an issue that we were kind of having the past year, to where it's like, all right, the quick solve to this is I'll do scheduling, because when it comes down to it, I know what my brother can install. I know what my other guys can install. I have the experience when it comes to installing, and it's not that I wanted to say further her along, but she was at a point where she was doing, I think, like 6 consults a day, to where like, hey, you got to put those proposals together, which I didn't really understand kind of the weight of that until I took over sales for the first part of this year, because she was out on maternity leave. Is if I have 6 consults in a day, and like I'm getting called to do a bunch of other things, like, and they're trying to schedule another consult on top of it, I'm like, guys, I need to have at least an hour and a half or 2 hours. I need to finish off what consults I didn't finish, because if they want multiple different films, and that's how I left the conversation, I didn't make the sell right then. I need to get that out to those people today. And then I have the approvals that came in. I need to call and schedule those people, which majority of the time it is straightforward with able to call them, they answer, get it scheduled, it's off my task list. But if they don't answer, now it's a call and left a voicemail. Now I'm waiting like, all right, can I book this person here? I don't know. So that's kind of how we've went about it.
So if you're doing it, so there's a couple different ways. If I'm the sales consultant, how our company is set up right now, this is not going to be the future, but how it's set up right now is the sales consultant, if it's approved right then and there, I'm not scheduling the job. I'm taking the deposit, I'm saying the terms and conditions. I'm going in the notes section, creating a task. Hey, it'll be a 2 to 4 hour job. I need 2 people with it. Ashley, schedule it. Find a spot. So they know what technicians they need. They know what ladders they need. They have everything right there in the task.
Okay.
So that's an easy way of doing it. Or if it's not approved the right way, just make that note. So it's in there. Hey, 4 hours, 2 people. Easy. So moving forward, though, I have a different system I'm doing with it. This is the scalable system, way scalable. I'm thinking way bigger than I am now, though. So 2 hour slot, 4 hour slot, 8 hour slot. That's your only 3 appointments for flat glass installations. If it's a 1 hour job like storm door, whatever, you get it done early, move to the next job, the quicker one. Fill in that schedule. So when you're training the third admin person on the phone, when you get to that point, it's very systemized, it's very simple, and you're just growing off that schedule for flat glass. 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. Majority of jobs can fall into that time spot. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm doing it the
Like
complicated way, but I'm assigning a task so they know exactly what it'll be, 5 hours, 7 hours, whatever. But moving forward, when I train my second admin I'm working on, it's going to be the 2 to 4 to 8 system. That's what we're doing.
See, that's where I've been coming up short, is I haven't necessarily found a way to do that and make it simple, which I mean, when it comes to that's one of Jocko's main things. Make it simple, stupid.
Yep,
like
it is.
it's
Kiss
that
it.
dude. That
Keep it
makes so much sense.
I learned that this weekend, passing it on to you guys. We all
That's-
work
I like
together. We
that.
grow off of each other. And even right now, if you just there on the job site, just put the note. If it gets approved a week later, at least there's a note in there, 5 hours or whatever. You have everything you need right then and there. So whoever does get to it, they already have a whole thing. Now, when you're done the consult, this stupid question, are you putting a recap of the consult in the notes? Hey, I was there for a half hour. Glare was their primary concern. I focused on this area of the home, but I did bring up the bathroom. I did leave them samples for this. I did do that. So the next person that goes in there, they know what you talked about. They know their pain points. They know about the client. They have it all. Because I'll sit in the truck for a minute.
Should.
As soon as I click the checkout button in the driveway or out of the driveway, preferably, say as soon as you hit the checkout button, I'm writing the note in. Just real quick summary while I'm still thinking about it.
See, this is actually this is another application for a GPT plugin to TintWiz. I keep bringing it up to Eric.
Okay.
In Notes, imagine if you were able to click on Notes and talk, just dictate your notes, and then it runs it through there.
What if you
and,
just
and
upload a voice file
fixes
that you
it.
just take?
Yeah.
You could just speak it. It doesn't need to be AI.
That's true too.
Yeah.
No, I
but
mean we have.
then you got to click on it to listen to
You
it.
do, yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like,
You want the
you
text
could
version,
have
you get
in
to
one
see.
click
Yeah.
just dictate. Maybe
Yeah.
it does save the audio that you can click on,
Mm-hmm.
that audio file, but then it pulls the transcript out of it, GPTs
cool.
it, and makes it professional and takes any tone out of it. And then your notes in there are,
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I just
no.
feel like the whole.
You could definitely kiss that one, though. I think definitely just keep it simple. You're in the driveway. Just write a two sentence paragraph.
I would say to a point we kind of do that. That goes into when the consultation itself, I guess, but that's still not a description because you can put an initial description of what the customer's looking for to begin with, and then get there, and all of a sudden it went from I wanted security film to all of a sudden now we're doing the entire job in a dual reflective film. Yeah. Because like in their mind, security is I still want people seeing in during the day. Yep. It's like well, that's kind of security, I guess. So
it is a sense of security. Yeah, you can't see it, you can't shoot it.
And see, like I actually no, I think I'm going to actually adapt that actually relatively soon, actually instantly. Of having her doing that, and then let alone when I go through and I see the approvals come through, because like I don't necessarily need a description for myself. I can look at that job, of course. And I know, but for her instead of her, because if we have a fairly open week or open spots, she won't call me. She won't do nothing. That's like I said. That's one of the reasons why I kind of took over is because I was starting to get phone calls from her like, "Hey, where can I put this? Where can I put this?" Because I'm not. She's like, I feel like I'm overbooking the guys. Like there would be days that she would crush the guys, and then there's days where it's like 12 o'clock and they're like, what can we do? Is there something else we can be doing right now? But if I just instantly, when I'm shooting that over to her in a task, automatically just look at the job, say, hey, you need this many guys, this many hours, and this always be on the same page of like, obviously we're trying to schedule in a way to where it's like, start the guys out here, work them this way. If we can pull it off, awesome. If we can't, hey, you got to drive a little bit is what it is.
That's why the 2 hour, the 4 hour is perfect, because some jobs you're early, some jobs you're extra. If you get done a 3 hour job and you have it in a 4 hour slot, there you go. You're an hour ahead of the day.
Yeah.
It does work, and it's a sustainable, growable model if you build your processes around that model.
Yes.
That's us moving forward. That's what we're going to be implementing, working on. Because I'm working on 5 flat glass curves and bands. That's what I want to get to. That's my goal. And Delaware is small enough where I think it's doable. I mean, we're servicing it now, and we have 2 crews. And I'm like, well, there should be no reason why I can't have a van up here all the time, have a van here in the middle, have vans down here, going to Maryland. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So,
no, I'd say we're finally at the point now. I think we've got at least when we have a guy out right now on maternity leave. This little boy was just born.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So I know when we get him back, like his nephew is technically, he's the one who is stepped up completely. Like this week has been kind of like it's been a marathon for us in the fact of we had two podcasts yesterday, we had 2 today, and we got 2 on Friday. And then so we had the one, we were driving back to Vegas on Monday from our run. And then Thursday was like the only day that's like, all right, we don't have anything booked podcast wise, but that's where we need to fit certain jobs, like to where like a job that he's got to kind of be on no matter what for the certain applications of certain windows, because the crew they know what they're doing, but there's certain things that we haven't really kind of dropped on them. But where our installer Ian, where he's like, I am unbelievably happy, and I haven't seen him yet. I haven't got a chance to talk to him. I can't talk to him and completely blow him up in the fact, like, dude, you stepped up tremendously. Jobs are getting knocked out. There's nothing that's getting left behind in the fact that like everything's being done in Tint Wiz. They're knocking the jobs out in a very timely manner. They're getting back to the shop, getting their day prepped the next day, and like I've been completely stepped away. I haven't said a word. I have no idea how much communication. I know he's been talking to
him daily, but yeah, they've been crushing.
They've been crushing it. And it's just like we're at 2 crews right now, and almost at the point where we can split into like a 3. Yeah. And I would say getting up to 4 or 5.
There's been days recently when Armando was still here that we would be out in 3-man crew, or 3 crews. Yep. Because I was able to kind of separate Armando and one of the guys and have 2 go somewhere else, and I'd go somewhere else. So
yeah, drop them off, get them set up, and then That's where my dad comes in. He's being the foreman. That's the one he's dropping off.
Yeah, I typically
that's what I'm trying to get him to right now. I want to stop him from installing.
Onesie and twosie thing that like no installer wants to go mess with. You know, maybe the one ladder window or something that's just like a pain in the butt. And then maybe I got to go join them on something to help finish and maybe do some of the dowel attachments, which now they're doing on their own a lot more. But for a while there, I kind of held on to doing the dowel.
So one of the jobs that required 2 people that we had landed like a 48 home housing development, and it was 40 plus issues of melted siding. We have siding issues, you have melted turf issues. Our homes are directly next to each other, but I'm in the Northeast. I don't have turf. We don't do that. They're directly next to each other. They keep upgrading with low E surface to windows. They're getting better and better, but the siding isn't upgrading at the same exact time.
Yep. Yeah.
So it'll be a dark blue on the outside, and it'll still be a dark blue on the inside. So it's absorbing all that energy, not letting conduction go where it should be. There should be a white back layer there, so it doesn't absorb in and radiates back out of it. And straight bubbling. Like it looks like you put a grill next to the siding and just bubbles right up the side. You can follow the path of the sun. Well, we got a lot of that this past summer, just banging out jobs. And goes in, you need to have multiple people that are ready to go on ladders, that are ready to lean against the house and climb up there.
Install outside, install exterior film,
Period.
Dealing with like, a little bit of gust of wind or whatever, especially for like us out here with the dust and stuff. If you're not used to dealing with those conditions at all, you don't have a shot in hell.
Doing that at 300 pounds was fun.
No, man,
Yeah, luckily
that
I was
doesn't
losing some
sound
weight
fun.
at that time, but it's definitely, it's fun doing it. And we had to get it done in summer because we have winters here.
So what have you been?
It's cold. We have to get it done quickly or, we're screwed with it.
So what have you been doing? Because that journey is like actually has me super intrigued. 100 pounds is a long way to go. What have you done?
I'm not running marathons.
Right before we get into this, the one question: what product are you putting on?
So I kind of wanted to get into that too because you brought up the perf. So we're doing Expel's Clear 80,
Okay.
and has a 51% absorption and a low exterior reflectivity. So it's a very low exterior. It's made for the glass, and it's worked. I know SoloGuard. If you compare apples to apples, it looks like SoloGuard's. It looks identical. Same hues, same aspect.
Yeah. Okay. So, but what guarantee are you giving your customers? Or are you just trusting the fact that it's going to work?
1 year, same as the home builder.
Well, but like, so 1 year of it not melting the house?
1 year of it on the home. I have to package it in, so I'm going underneath the home builder. They're handling the warranty department. They recommended the product itself. They did all the work. So I'm giving them a 1 year warranty on every aspect of it. I cannot control Mother Nature. I can't control the sun, but I can control the window film. So if there's any issues within 1 year, we'll figure it out. No issues so far, and I'm getting out of it pretty soon. After that, it's on the home builder. It's their headache. It's their aspect. I'm the middleman putting their solution that they wanted on there. So I already know the legal trouble. I already know the headache that can happen with it because I don't want to be married to those homes with melted siding for 100 years. I mean, I can't predict the sun. There's nothing you can do to control that.
Yeah.
So I got very lucky with the relationship that we formed. We're talking a home builder that the owner of the company has like 3 Learjets. I mean, he's big money. He's in Tennessee.
So they had you come do the whole neighborhood.
Yeah,
What's happened
well,
this
no,
year?
they have their whole warranty department.
Okay.
So we actually went to the warranty department. There's 48 homes spread across like 18 developments.
Okay.
So there might be one home here, one home there, one home there, and it's a constant wholesale account. And I got a really high rate, so I got lucky. And but to answer your question, it's a slippery slope. I actually had a tech bulletin made from Expel to write for the melted siding, but even their wording in the tech bulletin itself. This is the product that's known to work. It's known. There's no definitive this product works. Awesome.
All right. So past the turf or the siding protection film and all that, your journey to where you've kind of got to, like you dropped 100 pounds. That's amazing, man. Like what got you that? Like what was if anything the turning point?
So my whole life I've been fat. So it's not like it was an overnight thing. 1 year I was fat, 1 year no. My whole life I've been overweight. And I've lived my life based on scale my whole life. I always went to doctors, everything's scale, everything's weight. My friends tell me very straight up, Cody, you're going to die. You're like, you need to lose weight. And they're very blunt. And I'd much rather than be blunt and honest like that and tell me that. Because it might have taken a little while, but I eventually clicked that, you know what? They're right. I need to fix my life. I go out get girls. I can go do anything now. Like it's a lot different than I was when I was bigger. And one of the biggest things that made it happen, I would say, is I had to keep it easy. I had to be able to execute on it. But everything's consistency for me. Like how I was able to keep track of my food. I'm young. I hate dishes. Okay, I don't want any dishes. I'm busy as all hell, so I'm constantly driving to job sites. I'm getting Chick-fil-A. I'm going to Starbucks. I'm all these different places. I had to keep it easy. So I found a meal kit program called Factor. And Factor does weekly, every single week, different food, different macros, everything I can track. It's very easy to track of everything. I'm a numbers guy, so I thought of calories as a bank account. I have $2,000 I can spend every single day. So I'm going to buy food with it. Very simple. I kept it as easy as possible, and I kept it repeatable for me. So I'm ordering these Factor meals, okay? So my food's done. I can eat it in 2 minutes, heat it up, throw it away, no dishes, simple, keep moving. I drown myself with work, so I'm not even thinking about food. I'm not thinking about other shit. And then when I am, the food's done. It's just instant. When I'm on the job site, so my record's 14 consults in a day, just bouncing around. It's my record. And
Oh my God.
I have a lunchbox that I can plug into the cigarette outlet in my truck that warms up the food for me. So I didn't have to go. When I'm driving to a job site, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to heat up the food. It's warm by the time I get there. So I can eat it, get it done, or it's done by the time I'm done the appointment. So I never missed a meal. I was held myself accountable. It's probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but let's say I have a big breakfast. I'm not eating lunch or dinner. I mean, I ate the calories for the day. I spent that money. I just held myself accountable.
It actually might be healthy.
No,
There's a lot coming out on fasting
That's
now.
fasting. No,
Well,
we
the
used to do
thing
the
is-
same thing.
So all through high school, I always skipped breakfast. I never ate breakfast in the morning. I wrestled, so I fasted already. I was 285 weight class. I did the heavyweight stuff. Going through my whole life, I actually naturally fasted till probably 12 o'clock every single day. Like every single day, I just never ate breakfast. So I actually started to eat breakfast a bit more, and sometimes I would overeat or eat something stupid, whatever. And then you know what? I'm not eating for the rest of the day. I'll continue to fast. I just changed it. So instead of eating everything at nighttime or vice versa, I started eating a little bit in the morning, or I'd have a light lunch with the Factor or anything like that. I actually had to change it up a little bit. The fasting thing didn't work for me because I was naturally doing it in my body. And I think you get used to it or you hit those plateaus.
Well, everybody's unique. There is the right way to do it. This is something we talked about recently. Like, I think at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most is like, do you believe you can do it and can you be consistent with it? And then you need to be the one on top of figuring out what works best for you. And if you don't quit, you're going to figure it out. Like, so just keep doing what you're doing. Keep trying to figure it out. Like, I know we've both struggled up and down several times in our life and have finally kind of figured it out to stay consistently in good shape.
Yeah, you run 100 miles.
Well, give me another 40 pounds or so, and maybe I'll be in the back of the pack when you guys are up.
Dude, I am the back of the pack, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I had 30 hours to finish the race. I finished in 29 hours and 16 minutes. And, like, it's been a hell of a journey that I've been on running-wise. I'm thinking how fast I could run, and I think it just comes down to experience, getting the reps in these races. Like, these people that are running the much faster times technically than I am, they are doing it in a way that they've already were runners to begin with. They have the experience. Just like I look at it almost like tinting. You got someone who's got 2 to 3 years in, doesn't matter how many reps they have, they're nowhere near what I've put in just because I've had 15 to 20 years of reps. So they know, they just training and stuff like that. And it just, I don't know. I think it boils down to that. So to me, it's the goal of just finishing these things. And I got into the running because I love eating, and I wanted to, I guess, add to my bank account so I could eat more. So those days that I am running like the 20 miles, I know I could eat what I want. Like after this race, I burned 16,000 calories. My wife, my mom, like, what do you want to eat? Everything. I can't touch that today. So like, let's see what I can. Like, we got Raising Cane's. I got 2 4-piece meals and 4 pieces of toast on the side. I ate all of it.
Like, I watch the strongmen. So like Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, I watch them on YouTube, and you see them eating 12,000 calories or 14,000 calories. Just think, you burn that off in a race. It's wild. Dude. That's insane to even think about, because I'm trying the opposite, trying to eat that much, let alone lose that much. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, it's been great talking to you. I actually learned a lot about you. I kind of, I've gotten to talk to you a lot in the last couple of years, but it was really nice having you in here. I'm glad that you were able to make time to come in.
It was great hearing your story, and it's really cool seeing like the same story but different. It was neat that we're connected that much, family. It's really cool.
No, that's just the one big thing I've actually been shined on with doing these now. Like the past couple people that we've talked to, it kind of seems like not necessarily all the same kind of beginnings, but it's almost kind of like the same kind of story, especially with the guys that started off in the beginning of this industry, pioneering the industry. It's kind of like the same thing. Like, just dive in and let's figure it out. And then beyond that, the second generations now too. I think you're the first person that we've talked to that's true second generation, just like us. And like, hearing the stories, it's like, hey, this is like literally a mirror image to a point. Like, it's like the stories are right on top of each other, like going to the shop, like that was daycare, like, and then just falling into it, and then actually realizing like, I enjoy this. And then you get to the point where I enjoy the business side of this too. And like, you've had that exposure the majority of your life. Like, that's a great way of staying. I have 25 years of experience because I've been in this my entire life. It's a great talking point, man. Yeah. So I know I very much appreciate it. It's my first time actually really having a conversation with you. And I'm very happy to have you in here and actually get to know you and realize how much you have done for I mean, technically with Tint was how much you've done for the industry. Like Tint was in general has already made a huge impact on the industry, and the people like you that took that leap to begin with and actually started attacking it and going after it and actually spreading that knowledge around has done nothing but help our industry. And very much appreciate it. I look forward to definitely want to do this again and continuing conversations and then keep growing it together.
For sure.
For sure. It was great talking to you guys. I would say learning your stories, where you're coming from, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was really neat coming out here. I mean, we're in SEMA, Vegas. I would say it was really neat to be able to do a badass podcast with a bunch of badass window tinters. Same time as SEMA. Well, coming into this, I would say besides talking to you a little bit, I only knew you as badass window tinters. I would say it was really cool to know the backstory of you, and like you're more than just great installers. You know, it's the people behind it. It's really neat. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for being here, man. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. You guys know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. You know, keep following along this journey. We have a bunch more guests lined up from SEMA. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe and follow along.
Every Wednesday.
Like, share, comment.
Going.